This woman is about to spend 10 years of her life in prison because of a stranger, and that stranger is washing his hands of the entire situation. And still, she is sticking by him. A one-sided romance that cost this woman her family, home, and her freedom. The story begins with a concerned sibling. Mathew is reaching out to the Social Catfish team for help. His sister, Janine, is in quite a pickle. She is involved in a big money laundry scheme, and even though she was oblivious to it, she served as a tool. Hence, she is guilty by association. Well, honestly, they didn't talk about the specifics of her legal troubles or anything. There's a lot of questions still unanswered in Janine's life. We'll get to that. She is accused of stealing $26,000, and it looks like there's probably no way out. But how did it start? Well, we begin with the cryptic answers. She has 6 kids and 11 grandkids. A lot of people, right? Plus her brother, the one seeking help. She divorced in '94 and never tried to date again. Until now. She makes an interesting comment about her ex-husband.
And my ex-husband decided he wanted a younger woman. So he ended up marrying a friend of mine. And they were married for over 20 years, I think.
Cryptic answer number 1. If we don't think more about it, yeah, it sounds awful for her. But analyzing what she said more, it seems like they were divorced already, and that friend, who I don't know if that word is the correct one, is probably close to her age, unless she was hanging out with women 10 or more years younger than her. The more we hear her answers and the more we know about the people surrounding her personal life, you're gonna notice she leaves a lot of key details in the dark. Possibly to be painted as the ultimate victim. Again, no idea about her life, but the puzzle she's giving does not look good on her. One day, she received a Facebook message from Rick Alexander. It came out of nowhere and it grew fast. And here I'm gonna say, yeah, sure. It looks like a regular guy who wants to meet someone, and at least to me, Janine doesn't look out of his league. Up until here, everything looks good between the two of them. Rick is in Iraq. Hey, different place. And we get cryptic answer number 2.
He was always very respectful when he spoke with me. He didn't swear. He didn't belittle me or call me dumb or stupid or anything like that. He was always, very respectful.
2 scenarios come to my mind. The first one is the compassionate one. Probably she had an awful upbringing where she was belittled a lot. It can also be that the reason for her divorce was because her husband was not the best human to her. And the second option I have for you is the questioning one. What if, because spoiler alert, she is all alone, her kids want nothing to do with her, nor her grandkids. She has this victim mentality, and in everything she does, she puts herself in that position. I'm reaching, I know, but it's a major possibility. It will explain the reason nobody talks to her anymore. Her brother is, but far away. They don't live in the same place.
Last winter, and there was a big snowstorm in Turkey, and all of the flights were canceled. He's tried to come home a couple of times, and for one reason or another, he hasn't. And there have been times he's told me it's dangerous for him to be there.
He groomed her into thinking he was struggling over there and was almost trapped in Iraq/Turkey. Remember, he was super nice to her, so she was over the moon, and once he came with this whole "I'm trapped, I just want to go home," she wanted to make that happen for the man she thinks is in love with her.
He needed money so he could buy a phone card type thing so he could call me. The second time he asked me for money was in order to try to pay for a ticket to come home. He knew I was on Social Security and that I only got paid once a month.
I will never understand romance scam victims that are immediately in love with someone who's borderline homeless. Every time they need money for plane tickets, gas, food, and yet they work for the government, they have big inheritance, and it may happen in real life. I'm not saying you shouldn't help your partner in need, but no video calls, no meeting in person? The victims have no standard for romance. Either they are blinded by the quick money they will have once they get married, or they are disturbingly alone, and even though in the back of their minds know it's all bullshit, they continue because there is nothing else for them. Let's talk about the big problem here.
At one point, he sent me $26,000. And he said that was to help me pay the bills that I had because I sent him money. And he asked me to use some of it to pay my bills and then send the rest of it to a person in Turkey.
After that transaction, Janine was doing her life as usual until she was stopped by a cop because she had a broken taillight. Nothing major. But once the cop got her license and ran her record, he found out she had an order for her arrest. So she was arrested and extradited to another city. She stayed in jail for a couple of weeks, and after that she could go back to her house, but she was still involved in a huge problem.
Someone had given me $26,000 to pay for airplane parts to send to Maryland to this woman. I've never talked to a woman about airplane parts. I don't know anything about airplane parts.
The case of two women being taken for a fool, my guess. The other woman gave this Rick guy the money, and Janine was the middleman in a money laundry/theft situation. It looks like a scam, sounds like a scam, and that's because there is nothing other than a scam. It boggles my mind she was oblivious to that. And the big problem is, she listened to Rick and sent the money to Turkey.
You're done. You're done.
What do the lawyers say? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse or something like that? I feel for the brother. He wants his sister to be absolved because she was an unwilling participant, hence why he reached out to the Social Catfish team. Cryptic answer number 3. Janine said her kids are not on speaking terms with her because of this. Again, if we don't think beyond her words, yeah, it sounds like the kids got tired of her and stopped communicating. But all of them? Usually at least one of them tends to be near a parent going through something similar, trying to rebuild the family or the grandkids. But all of them are in the same boat, which looks very suspicious, as if this was the last straw for them. The team talked to her, which was an infuriating conversation.
Do you still believe you're talking to the real man?
I'm hoping so, but I don't really know. He just makes me feel good. He tells me he loves me. He seems to want to take care of me.
Do you love him?
I hate to admit it, but yes, I do.
She's about to spend 10 years of her life because of Rick, and she's still hung up on him. No self-esteem, no self-worth, no self-preservation. She prefers to fight for a fantasy than for her freedom. Janine's life became cryptic after that, like anything around her, to be honest. She disappeared. Neither the team nor her brother knew where she was. While the team was talking to the brother and telling him they found the real man from the pictures and he was most definitely not involved in anything, Janine called. She was in a shelter because she is homeless now. She couldn't talk because there was a lot of noise and promised to call the team again. The team informed her of the reality of the relationship, a reality Janine refused to accept. Her future is confusing but certain, and the sad thing is the only person she has now is her brother. And piecing that puzzle, I don't think he will be there for much longer. The team was so nice to her. I don't know where they get the self-restraint. That empathy really helps the victims be more open about their story, although this one has a lot of questions that probably will not be answered. Here's another woman who fell for the scam and found herself defrauding her job and in prison. Thank you for watching.
You have no idea how much I want to slap out of you right now.